Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about using the tarot to tell your story. Not the way it is, but rather the way you want it to be in order to manifest your goals. And we're going to do this by using the tarot to set our intentions. Now, for those of you who didn't see my other video on Hoodoo and Astrology, setting your intentions with the new moon, I want to go reiterate what I mean when I say set your intentions, because that's a phrase you hear a lot in the practice of magic and witchcraft and Hoodoo. So, my definition of setting your intentions means making a firm decision about something that you want to be, to do, or to have, and then you go about the process of being it, doing it, or having it. Now, the first step is, of course, making that decision. The second step is usually performing some type of symbolic act, often called a spell or a ritual, to show the universe that you are serious about what it is that you want, that you actually want it, and you're going to put energy out there in order to manifest it and make it happen for you. And finally, the last step in setting your intention is actually going about the process of being, doing, and having what you want. And the way that you do that is you change the way you think about what it is you want, the way you talk about what it is you want, and the way you act about what it is you want. For example, let's say you want a new job. Well, that is your intention. You set a new job. You light a candle and burn a candle. This is your symbolic act showing the universe, please manifest in me a new job. Then you go about being it, doing it, and having it. You can't just sit on your couch and wait for this new job to fall in your lap. You got to go out there, you got to put on your applications, you got to meet people, you got to set up interviews, you got to show up to those interviews and do well. You got to keep a positive attitude in your mind about what it is you want. There can be no doubt in your mind whatsoever that what it is you want you cannot have. Correct? Okay. So the way we're going to set our intentions with the tarot is you're going to choose a tarot deck, and I recommend using the Rider-Waite or any deck which has pictures on all the cards. And you really don't need to know what each card means, because you're really going to focus on the imagery of the card rather than what it means. You're only going to focus on the meaning of the card if it is in alignment with your goal. Because we know that what you think about inwardly, you manifest outwardly. What your thoughts dwell on, you invite into your life. Where your attention goes, there goes energy. So you're only going to focus on what you want and not what you don't want. And you're going to focus on what you want through the pictures in these cards. Now, I'm going to use myself as an example. I am on a weight loss journey. Back in February 2018, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, and my doctor put me on medication to treat the high blood pressure, and he recommended me to go on the keto diet. That's Keto. I have been taking my medication. I have been adhering to my diet as best as I can, and I'm honestly proud to say that today is July 26th, and as of today, I've lost 49 pounds since the last week of February. But I didn't do it with just keto and exercise alone, because I did start exercising, walking 10 to 15,000 steps a day, which isn't bad for someone who sits in an office all day and then comes home and sits at my laptop to do readings, read candles, set candles, and what have you. I also did it using magic, which I may address in a future video, but for now I'm going to talk to you about how I started my journey by setting my intention with the tarot. So what I did was I chose 3 cards. 1 card to represent my past, 1 card to represent the present, and 1 card to represent the future. So again, we don't really have to focus too much on what each card means unless it is in alignment with your goal. So the first card I chose to start to represent my past was the 9 of the Nine of Cups. And those of you who read cards may recognize this as the wish card. It usually means a wish that will come true. Well, of course I want this card, because if I set my intention, I'm going to go into this believing, knowing with my entire being that what I want is going to come to pass. But the secondary reason I chose this card is, I'm trying to get that glare off there. The second reason I chose this card was because what you see here is a rather portly man. He's sitting down, he's got his legs spread. I think they call that man spreading. And behind him there are 9 cups. It almost looks like a golden arch. And when I see those golden arches, I think of McDonald's. And this was like me in the past. Anybody who knows me knows I love cheeseburgers. And what you see here, this man is sitting here. Let me see if I can get it close. He has a smile on his face. He has a look of pleasure. And these cups back here, they could be considered bags. And I look at them as sort of like those fast food bags that you get like at McDonald's or Wendy's or wherever, and they're all empty. And that's why he has that smile on his face, because he just ate all those cheeseburgers and his belly is full and he's happy for now. But it's only a temporary pleasure, because that food's going to turn into fat. It's going to weigh him down. He's going to feel sluggish. He's going to feel unmotivated, and he's going to feel heavy, less buoyant, and just have a complete lack of energy. And this was me in the past. That's my first card. So the second card I chose to represent my present at the time was the Chariot. And what you see here is a young man on a chariot, and then there have these 2 sphinxes here. And what this card means to me, it's a card of movement. It's a card about not only power, but also the control of power. So what I needed to do in my present at the time, and every day I need to have the discipline that this charioteer has to control myself, to control my appetite, and to control my bad habits and turn them into good habits. I need to harness that willpower and strength in order to get up and move. Just like the chariot represents movement, I need to move, I need to exercise, and I need to exercise physically, but I also need to exercise my will to have control over myself and discipline in order to eat the right things, in order to not eat the wrong things, and in order to get up every morning whether I want to or not, and get my steps in. So that was my present. And then the final card I chose to represent my future was, of course, here we have the Magician. And the first reason I chose this card is, if you look very closely at his belt, that is, and I believe it's called an Ouroboros, if I said that right. It's a snake eating its own tail. And I associate that with my body drawing fuel from the fat on me, burning that fat away, basically eating itself, and I become thinner. And again, if you look at the Magician here, look at that belt. There's no belly hanging over that belt. He's not a fat boy. He's not a fat boy at all. And if you also look at the Magician here, I'm really trying to not put that glare. If you look at his table, he has here the 4 elemental weapons used in magic. And we have a wand, a cup, a sword, and a pentacle. And everybody knows these usually represent the 4 elements, the 4 directions, the 4 seasons, and what have you. But if you saw my other video on balancing your energies with the tarot, you'll understand that these 4 symbols also relate to ourselves as human beings. The wands, or fire energy, is represented in ourselves as our vibration, our spirit, our the energy that we put out there in the world. The cup is our emotions. The pentacle is our physical body. The sword is our thoughts and our words. So whereas the fat man and the wish card here, he had all those empty McDonald bags on his table, the Magician has learned to bring balance to himself both in mind and body, and he has been able to harness his will, channel his will, and to make his desire come true. That's why he's a magician. He makes magic, right? So, this is the story that I created for myself with the past, present, and future, right? So, how do I use this to set my intention? So, that right there told my story. So then the next thing I might have done, which I did do, is I set these cards up in front of me, left to right, Nine of Cups, Chariot, and Magician. And what I did was, in front of each of those cards, I set one candle, just a plain white candle that I was going to set to burn. And so on the first candle with the Wish card, the Nine of Cups, I dressed that candle with blockbuster oil to just blow those obstacles out of the way. Anything that's holding me back or holding me down, weighing me down. But I also dressed it with cast off evil oil to get rid of my bad habits, right? Then the Chariot card, the candle in front of it, I dressed it with road opener oil to open the way in front of me to forge the path that I will tread to move and get going, right? And then the candle with the Magician card, I chose Crown of Success so that I would be successful in my endeavors. And then what I did was, I lit those candles and I focused on what I want, not what I didn't want. And so I meditated, I don't know where that card went, I meditated on each one of these cards one at a time. And I visualized myself in this card, and I understood with the Wish card, the Nine of Cups, this is my past. And what I even did with these cards, and you can do too, is I put myself in the position of this man in this card. So I sat there, and I crossed my arms just like he does, and I closed my eyes, and I visualized myself sitting there with all those bags behind me, and how, you know, I really like those cheeseburgers, but it's a temporary pleasure, and I don't want to feel weighed down and heavy and sluggish anymore. I don't want that for myself anymore. And then I contemplated the Chariot card, and that's when I stood up. But I'm not going to do it in this video because then you'd be looking at my belly or my junk. But I stood there and I visualized myself as the charioteer in the chariot, and I'm moving. I see myself going down this long path. I see my arms as strong. I see the two sphinxes in front of me, and I understand that they are my habits and my appetite, and I'm holding on to them, and I'm controlling them, and I want them to go in the direction of health and healing, and not the same old path I've been doing, right? And then finally, I meditated on the Magician card, and I thought about, wow, how good is it going to feel when I'm thin? How good is it going to feel when I'm have all this energy? How good is it going to feel when I accomplish my goal? And every pound, every ounce I lose is a celebration. Every ounce, every pound I lose is a celebration. So I lit those candles and I let them burn. And then what you want to do is, remember how at the beginning of this video I said, where your attention goes, that's where energy goes. What you dwell on inwardly in your mind, you manifest outwardly. What you think about, you invite into your life. So, I have over my desk a cork board, and it's sort of like a vision board. It changes depending on my goals. And so what I did was, you can take these cards themselves, if you have extra decks, put them somewhere. Put them in a lot of different places, you know. You can even photocopy them, just like I did here. And this is my story of my past, present, and future. And put this on places that you're going to see it. For example, over my desk, on the bathroom wall, by my bed, on the wall by the bed. So it's the first thing I see when I get up and I put my feet on the floor and I look up at that wall and I see this. Because this is my story. This is not my story as the way it is. This is my story the way I want it to be. this was my past. I'm not that fat boy anymore sitting there thinking about that delicious, delicious cheeseburger. This is me in my present now. I'm moving, I'm exercising, I'm controlling myself. I am manifesting my goal. And this is the future that I'm manifesting even right now while I sit here and talk to you. This is me celebrating every pound I lose. Because when you achieve a goal, even if it's like, I'm going to lose 1 pound, if that's my goal, when you achieve that goal, you get inspired, you get energized, and you really focus on what you've done, and then you attract more of it. So this is one way to really keep this in your consciousness, because every time you see this, you're going to be reminded of your story and what your goal is. And when you lose that weight, or whatever it is your goal is, you break your big goal down into little goals. And every time you accomplish a little goal, or even a big goal, again, you're going to draw that energy and feel good, and you're going to draw more of it. And it's just exponentially, it's going to go more and more, better and better for you. So that is one way that you can set your intentions with the tarot. Oh, and I also wanted to mention, if you're not good with visualizing or anything, if you're good with Photoshop, even if you're not good with Photoshop, you can Photoshop your own face on these cards. If you're good at photography, or have a friend that's good at photography, you can stage these photos with yourself. Have them take a picture of you and try to recreate these photos as best as you can. If you're not good with Photoshop, you can take pictures of yourself that you already have, print them out to size. It may take a little trial and error, and then paste your own face over these faces to help you really solidify that vision of your journey, of your weight loss journey, or getting a new job, finding a lover, attracting money, whatever it is. Again, what I showed you here today is just an example. So that is my technique for setting your intention with the tarot. Please be sure to like this video and share it across your social media accounts. And don't forget to subscribe. I think I'm supposed to tell y'all that. And I want to wish you all the best of luck in all your endeavors. And please feel free to comment in the comment section how this helped you, or what your plans are for telling your story with the tarot. Have a great weekend, everyone.